Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's Rocksmith live stream. My name is Dan Emmerich. I'm the community developer. You may or may not recognize me. It doesn't matter because we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you and your relationship to the music of Interpol. That's this week's DLC. We have 4 songs from Interpol. We're going to play all 4 of them today. Looking at who we've got, we have all the usual suspects, really. But we also have Ernie Ball giveaways. So if you'd like to win some free strings and guitar accessories, you'll have the opportunity to do that not once but twice over the course of this show. We've also got some DLC to give away as well. So if you like the songs you're about to hear, you might actually wind up winning them about halfway through the show and not have to put out any money at all this week. So let's start with the Interpol trailer. These are the 4 songs that are on offing this week. If you like them, if you don't, now's a good way to find out. Take a look at this, and we'll be right back with the first song when we get back. Thanks.
Oh, she's back. But it's different now that I'm more engaging. I'll never see his face again. You go stabbing yourself in the neck. And we can find new ways of living, make playing only logical harm. And we can top the old times, claim making that nothing else will change. But she can reach, she can reach, she can reach, she can reach, she's bad. She can reach, she can reach, she can reach, she's bad. She said you don't need time, be tame. You won't need your mate inside. My faith won't lie. He said you don't need mine, behave. You wanna leave my lady lovers of my 18 summers alone. She said you don't read minds, be patient. She won't leave me shaking. Leave me shaking. I keep falling, maybe half the time, maybe half the time. I keep falling, maybe half the time, maybe half the time. But it's all the rage back home. It's all the rage back. You are the only person who's completely certain there's nothing here to be into. That is all that you can do. You are a past sinner, the last winner, and everything we've come to, it makes you you. You cannot safely say, while I will be away, that you will not consider sadly how you held me astray. You will not reach me. I am presenting a position that's past resentment, and now I can't consider. And now there is this distance. So sleep tight, grim ride. Leave some shards under the belly, lay some grease inside my hand. It's a sentimental jury and the makings of a good plan. You've come to love me lightly, yeah, you come to hold me tight. Is this motion everlasting or do shadows pass in the night? Rosemary, all heaven restores you in life. I spent a lifespan with no cellmate, a long way back. Send me
Our own UB Vertigo, Doug, our community manager in the chat room, just mentioned that he was really into Interpol in high school or college. I forget what it was. He said, which should surprise no one. But yeah, I mean, there's funny. We had a lot of positivity this week where people who were really inspired by this band and really fans of this band came forward in our social spaces and said, thank you so much, and I'm really happy. I'm looking forward to this, and I've been waiting a long time, and that's great. And then we had another group of people that were like, I'm not familiar with this band, but I kind of like what I hear, so I'm going to check it out. So, if you're still on the fence, that's kind of why we do this weekly show. We'll go through all 4 songs that you just heard snippets of. We'll play them in their entirety, and I believe we have all of the original note trackers lined up this week to show you a little something about how to play them better, including the one and only Jason Kokel in the center square, and off on the wing, David Stevens, our QA ninja. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Howdy.
So, David, you were telling me this song is, in fact, based on a true story about serial killers. The first song is Evil, and it lives up to its title.
Yeah. It's about a serial killer, Rosemary West from the UK. I think they caught her in the 90s and figured out she killed like 10 people. Her and her husband.
Well, the family that slays together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cheerful. It's very upbeat.
Yeah. Jason, anything to look for on this one? You guys are both playing guitar. I assume you're doing lead and David's on rhythm?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. That's what's neat about this band and this song is that they have really well written guitar parts that complement each other, that sort of kind of talk to each other a bit. Sometimes they play the same thing, but then it kind of diverges, I guess. And this is not, this pack is our first Interpol pack, but not our first Interpol song. Rocksmith 1, we had Slow Hands, which is a cool song. I worked on that one too. I did the bass transcription for that one. But yeah, this is really, really fun. The one problem with it is because there's a lot of wide open space, the amount of notes that you're actually playing in the song is decreased. Right. So you really, if you're concerned with your percentage, you have to nail almost everything in order to
But if you're not, and you're just looking for this isn't overwhelmingly complex,
right?
In
It's
like
not.
Changing shapes and stuff.
Yeah, it's not complex, but it sounds really cool. This band is really good.
All right.
The bass does a lot to carry all these songs too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
Stands out and speaks for itself.
Cool. Well, let's hear it. Let's do Evil by Interpol, the first of 4 songs we'll be playing today, all 4 in our Interpol song pack. And yes, if you were wondering where Slow Hands was, it's back in Rocksmith 1. You can import it into your current library. After this, we'll do that first Ernie Ball giveaway we were talking about, so stick around.
Yeah, you get the first quarter of the song is bass and vocals
Rosemary,
and drums.
heaven restores you in life. You're coming with me through the aging, the fearing, the strife. It's the smiling on the package, it's the faces in the sand, it's the thought that moves you upward, embracing
really
me
is
with
upbeat.
2 hands. Right,
Yeah.
we'll take you
I
places
love-
Considering the
that
subject
may be
matter.
to the beach.
I love
Your friends
poppy,
say you
kind of
come
upbeat,
grind,
happy
till now
songs
you're
about
pleasure
terrible
set upon
things.
slow release. But hey, who's on trial? It took a lifespan with no soundman, a long way back, saying
Lol Wutmang just noted that this is definitely one of those packs where you get maximum value because the rhythm part is interesting, the lead part is interesting, and as you guys pointed out, they complement each other really well. People are really noticing like the interplay of the guitars.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah, and then there's the parts where like they're both like doing the same double stop shape, but David's part was dun, 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 and then
Right, a different rhythm on it,
it's
yeah.
all eighths, and it's neat. It's neat they do that. They do it. This was kind of we had to do something special with this because both the singer and the guitarist, they both play guitar, but it's not like what the lead path that's represented here is more like, okay, this is what a lead guitarist would play. It isn't what the singer plays,
Right.
literally, and it's not what so it's that lead path is a mixture of both of their parts. That like, oh, okay, if I was
If I was
when
doing this
consider
live,
yeah, exactly, I might be playing, and so so some of the transitions had to be massaged a little bit because in order to maintain that path system that we have. So
I do have a technique question. A couple people, including Firecorn, noticed, was that a fret hand mute with a harmonic?
It was.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
yep.
Okay,
First
so
time
that
this is-
that freaked
something
people out.
unique.
They're like, I've never seen that
Unique
before.
in the game.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've ever used it. When I first saw it, I was like, that doesn't look right. So I had to check with him. Like, is that intended?
yeah. So what happened was it sounds like, and it is both. I mean, the harmonic rings out pretty loudly, but probably what's happening is he's muting the string, and you can hear
And
that
that
note ring
creates
out.
the harmonic.
Yeah, and it
Okay.
creates it, but it's also muted. So in order to make sure that it captured the sound of what both of those things are, but also to help better pass detection, because fret hand mutes, it just needs to hear a sound. So having both of those there, if you don't nail the harmonic, it's okay, because the intent was probably not to really exactly
To play
the
that harmonic was just a
yeah.
happy accident.
Yeah, and so but it worked out well. It has a cool visual that I think we've never used
Yeah.
so far.
Yep.
And I had to check it, make sure that it worked. So I put it in. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because the fret hand mute is, they're both left hand techniques, but for some reason both of those they were able to overlay each other in such a way that didn't
Yeah.
We didn't break anything.
Didn't break anything. It just made people notice.
Yeah, you can't
which is
slip
nice.
anything past the audience when you
Yeah,
do something
And I don't
new.
know if you noticed too, like that whole rhythm part is pretty much in this one position. There's like 5 different chords that if you just plant your ring finger on that 7th fret of the D string, you can reach all those different chords, and then it just feels natural to hit that harmonic. When
Right.
It's like. Yeah, it
You're
sounds
an
much
unnatural
better
guy.
with the tone.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Right.
tones in the song are great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Brendan West.
Brendan
No
West.
relation to Rosemary West.
Right.
That we know
that
of.
we know
yeah,
of. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Much appreciated. Hey, if you would like to win free stuff, now's a good time to give that away. Let's do it. You are going to win, somebody. I can't guarantee it's going to be you, but somebody's going to win the Ernie Ball prize pack that we're showing on the screen right now. If you play bass, you'd probably like to use those Ernie Ball regular slinky bass strings. If you play guitar, you probably want the ones on the left side of the screen, the beautiful green 10 to 46 guitar strings. Maybe you need an extra strap, or maybe you'd just like to have an extra one around for your guitar. Well, it's going to look uncannily like the one in the upper right, except it'll be a far screen. We still have a few more far screen ones to give away. The Wonder Wipe system is pre-moistened towelettes that help you maintain your guitar. Keeps your strings clean, keeps your fretboard in condition, and polishes your guitar. It's all kind of an easy way to make sure that your guitar is in tip-top shape. The peg winder, if you don't have one or if you've lost yours, it's always good to have a spare. It makes changing your strings a heck of a lot easier. And there's these new things for guitarists called picks that Ernie Ball is truly a leader in. If you could picture sort of like small pieces of plastic that are almost but not quite triangles, and that's their big innovation. They've invented the guitar pick, and they're going to give you 12 of theirs, and we ripped off that idea and made 3 of our own, which you can only get here. They're the pink ones with the Rocksmith logo on them. So if you'd like to be on the cutting edge and be one of these guitarists that uses a pick, or Heaven forfend, be a bassist that uses a pick. Well, all you have to do is win this. And to win this, our friend UB Vertigo, the Interpol fan, in our chat room, he's our community manager, Doug. He will tell you what you need to do to enter. It's pretty easy. You just have to follow us and then type in a special word when it's time for us to give stuff away. But if you don't win this first one, don't worry. We've got another one coming later in the show. But good luck to you on this first draw. We also have some DLC codes to offer you a little bit later in the show. Actually, after this next song, I think we'll probably do that giveaway. So good luck to you and yours, and thanks again to our friends at Ernie Ball for hooking us up with the sweet swag all of this time. My name's Dan Amrick. I'm the community developer on behalf of Rocksmith, and you have stumbled into, thankfully, our live stream. This is the Rocksmith live stream where we have folks from Ubisoft San Francisco, the studio that makes the software, actually come on and play the songs that are available this week as DLC. If you have any questions about those songs, we'll try to answer them, like we did for Evil with how do you do a fret mute and a harmonic, that's funky. But next up on our hit parade is Brian Pody in the center square, and off on the wing, it's Brian McCune, the manager of musical content. Hi there, man.
Hi, I'm the man.
You are the man.
Manager.
You're the man. You're so bad you should be in detention. You're the man.
Uh-oh.
Not.
Okay. Good. I love dead air. I love creating awkward silences on the
I
air
also,
because,
yeah, absolutely.
because Dan always wants to fill them, which is great. Oh, God.
Do not test my will.
I'm impressed. Dan was quiet for 3 whole seconds.
The best part is when Pody asks, "Hey, do you want to test the mics?" And I'm like, "If I have to speak, I will." But
Dan, can you please talk?
Yeah. Well, okay, if I have to. At least you guys got me to stop talking through the songs. Now people can actually enjoy them for what they are.
Through persistent feedback from me.
Yeah, it was really. It was. Please stop for the 8th week in a row. I'm giving you the same note.
No.
Pody, I believe you note tracked PDA, which is our next song. Yes.
You would be wrong.
Oh no! Oh, we do not have all the original note trackers.
No. Well, I mean, you did, but he left.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have all the original note trackers.
Yeah.
Plus, so Kokol did 2 songs. That happens
That's right.
sometimes
Yeah.
based on people's personal schedules. You schedule all the note trackers there,
I do.
Brian.
Sharon and I do together.
Yeah.
Yes. But
I think this was originally signed to me, and something
there was
went
this-
off the rails.
And
there
so
was-
you had to fix
yeah,
the
there
other
was-
something.
Kokol and I just swapped
Yeah.
tracks.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And Kokol wound up doing all of your work, is what you're saying.
Kind
But
of.
you put out
No, you-
completely. You did all kinds of other work.
I did.
All right.
I think I did
believe you.
future work. Kokol did now work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're planning us for where we are now. You
Yeah.
did 8
Yeah,
weeks ago.
The thing that I did instead, you should have Jason play.
Correct.
All right. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. That's
Yeah.
fine. Let's leave it that way. It's not the first time I've been baffled on this show. What are we in for on PDA? You're going to do lead, and McCune's going to do bass. What is it? Is it very similar stylistically to the previous song? What kind of techniques are in
It's
there?
similar, yeah. There's a lot of interesting chord
You didn't play
shapes.
it, did you?
I played it once,
Same here.
When?
but I was right before I came up here. But I
Okay.
was not,
Same
I
here.
wasn't actually plugged in, so I was just kind of visually
Sure,
playing along
just
to the note
noodling.
track,
Okay.
which is a good segue to disconnected mode. if you did
Ah,
not know
yes,
that
thank
was in
you for the
game.
plug.
You can still play through the charts even without your real tone cable.
This was actually a request that we had from the audience. Is I wish I could just watch the charts and not be scored, and not have it say miss. I wish I could just use it when I'm offline and just not plugged in and just go over stuff and practice. And so that's why disconnected mode is in there, because you asked for it.
That's right.
So you actually use that because you're like, I'm in a hurry, I got to do this. I just want to get a refresher.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you have no insight into this, and we should just play the song, and that way you'll find out what's in the song.
I know there's chords.
Okay, I'm a big fan of chords.
And
Have I
there's
mentioned
single
I'm a
notes.
rhythm guitarist? All right.
Rocksmith bingo.
Rocksmith bingo. Okay, there you go. Let's play it then. Let's do PDA by Interpol, one of the 4 songs in this week's Interpol Song Pack. And after this, we will give away some DLC codes for Steam for this. So if you play on PC or Mac, you might win this song free when we're done.
Interesting fingerings, too. We haven't gotten to the interesting fingering yet, but it's there.
Begging for pinch harmonics, Cody, by the way.
I mean, if David wants to put me on a different tone, we can probably get there.
You can do it after.
In a way that does not facilitate the change after it. You're all up in my sonic space there, Brian.
Very nice. Toy Machine has a musical question for you, which is why does the 12th fret on the B string, the orange string, sound so dissonant in this context?
B is green.
B is green. Okay, then yes. Why does that sound so dissonant here?
I haven't played through the guitar charts actually on this one, so I don't know what's happening tonally during that part. Do you know what?
I mean, it's actually an octave.
but it depends on what I'm
From what
playing
the
underneath
guitar
it.
is playing. Yeah, I don't know what
We need to go back and find it.
that part.
That.
It's going.
Yeah,
it's
that's-
walking through those.
That's
notes,
perfectly
but
dissonant. Your ears are wrong.
Yeah, I need to see what part of the song that is. I might
probably
have to
played
get
it
back
wrong.
to you on chat on that one, and then I can tell you. I'm sorry, I was not paying attention to Pody's part.
It's okay.
Except for
No,
the fun harmonics.
but a lot of people pointed out how fun that bass line looks, and it is.
Yeah.
It's active. It's not super complicated, but you have to be paying attention.
You know what? It actually is more
Is it a-
complicated than it appears.
Yeah?
it
Yeah,
goes all over the place.
the counting is odd. First of all, you're in drop D, so some of the shapes when you're jumping fourths and fifths are not going to be in the typical fourths that you're used to a bass being in. And so when you're jumping from the red string to the yellow string in particular, it won't necessarily feel 100% natural.
It's
But then
like a
there's the other
third
thing.
shape
The
instead
other
of a
thing is
fourth.
that it's actually pretty syncopated. It'll do
Yeah.
some changes on the offbeat, and these are the quarter notes, and it's shifting just after the downbeat or just before the downbeat, and you really have to read it very, very carefully to make sure you're doing that part. Yeah, it's a part that doesn't ever really sit in one spot for too long. I think there must be something going on with the game because my real tone cable is picking up
The ocean.
the ocean and
Street
the traffic
noise.
and
Street
noise.
traffic.
Sorry, we did see that complaint come up
Yeah,
within the last month.
we had to.
Oh,
Yeah, we
really?
had to tell them like, oh no, that's just
That's a
the
feature.
menu.
That's a
the
design choice.
The conceit is that you are in a loft apartment over in a city somewhere. That's why like the walls look like that. You're like, oh, you're in the cool industrial hip area, the warehouse area of the town, and so there's traffic outside. And they were like, I think my real tone cable is picking up like interference. I keep hearing like radio stations and waves and the ocean. I'm like, how can your real tone cable pick up the ocean?
I actually, if I plug a real tone cable into a specific base in the office, I pick up a Spanish language radio station.
Call me next time. I want to
But
hear
I
this.
have to plug it in just like halfway, and it's only one
Right.
base.
Yeah. So okay.
And
Wow.
it just becomes an antenna, and it only picks up one radio station.
That's like that episode of Saved by the Bell where Screech was picking up radio signals in his tooth.
That's right. It's uncannily like that. That's where Pody got the idea, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well,
more you know.
the more you know, the less I do. It
Yeah.
seems. Thank you both. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Dan.
Hey, it's time for that giveaway. Let's do that giveaway we were talking about. We've got 5 codes for the Interpol pack on Steam. So if you'd like to win all 4 songs, our friend UB Vertigo, Doug, he will tell you what you need to do to enter that right now. And in the meantime, we're going to throw to a video, and I don't remember what video I had suggested we do. Last week it was, The Sounds of Rocksmith. I believe this is one starring,
Spencer Selman.
yeah, and Brian McCune. Are you not in this?
I'm
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in it to win it.
I think it starts with Jared.
It starts with Jared.
Yeah, as it always does.
Many things end with Jared.
Fair enough.
So enjoy this look at how the game was made and some of the ideas that went into what you're playing now. And when we come back, we'll have a winner for that giveaway, and we'll also move on to our 3rd song. So thanks for being here, and stick around. We'll be right back.
We've got a pretty good crew.
My dad was a big Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix fan. So I remember growing up watching a lot of videos and listening to a lot of recordings of that, and so I always wanted to play.
I started when I was 13, 14, playing bass, come from a really musical family.
My first involvement with music was in church.
I studied percussion from middle school through college, actually, and played tuba.
Picked up guitar in middle school because we had an acoustic laying around.
A friend of mine had a bass. I actually wanted to play bass at first, and then he told me, no, I'm the bassist. You can't play bass. So I figured, all right, I'll pick up the thing that looks the most like the bass, and that happened to be the guitar.
Never had any lessons, kind of, was a total power chord guy. Was in like a Nirvana cover band, all that good stuff.
Note Tracker transcribes all the music that all the guitars and basses are doing in a given song, and also creates a progression that will take someone from the first time they've ever played guitar, get them through the song and having fun, and eventually get them playing the entire song note to note as it was recorded.
The way we note track a song is we just load in an MP3.
The game just knows what the notes are.
And then we just sit back for 2 weeks and do nothing. No, for real, it's actually a very time-consuming process. It is quite the endeavor. We get official assets from the licensors. We get the audio file, and then we have to first tempo map. It's beat mapping. And once we're done with that, we have to sit and listen to the recording and track every single note in every single position. And it takes a considerable amount of time. Then we enter into a review process.
We use all the tools at our disposal to get it right. And then we go in and polish, and double check and re-review, come back and do it again. And that's really where all of this experience that everybody on the team has comes into play. We got guys who come from a strong jazz background. We got guys who are heavy into heavy metal. We got guys who are studio technical guys who know how to go in and make a record, make it sound super pro and polished.
We come from the conservatory setting ourselves mostly.
We both studied composition. Born on the Bayou, not a technically difficult song to play, really straightforward, but it was really, really hard to note track because it's this kind of loose, strummy style of playing. There's this sort of difficult balance you have to reach between, like, okay, here's exactly what's going on note for note in the song, versus here is something that it makes sense to teach a person to play. Something we've really tried to do in both games, but especially in Rocksmith 2014, is to make it one global, unified sound experience. And the audio design really has a lot to do with gluing that all together.
At the end of the first game, we were, again, looking for ways to make it better. And one thing that we wish we would have done more is kind of give somebody more of a space to learn how to improvise and kind of create their own sound. And so we thought, well, what if we make AI musicians? So we started with a drummer. We started with just one drummer that, when you played some stuff, the drummer listened to you and played along with you. The next step was we made a bassist and a guitar player and organ player. We kind of saw, like, yes, this is the arena we were talking about. So that's what session mode is. In our audio engine, we actually made a sampler. I said, well, there's no way I could do all this. This is ridiculous. It took me 2 days to do one riff, and we need like thousands. Immediately did I realize that we needed composers. And so we got 6 guys. They make all the riffs that are gonna power the sampler instrument.
We had this big sheet of all of the different instruments that we're gonna be writing for. There'd be an example of like a song or a band and a song title or something to look at. And then when we'd actually get to those, he'd send us a few more songs.
Yeah.
Or we'd totally not listen to them and just do our own thing.
It's interesting to not have the kind of standard writing process that you would think would work. Kind of like the tested, tried and true things don't work all the time, so there's a lot of experimentation at the beginning.
Like I remember I was working on the blues guitar, and there were things for when it would play chords to make it really sound sort of realistic. It needed to be kind of slopped up. So all of the chords that I ended up writing, I ended up zooming way in and like moving each note up and down so you could really hear if it was an upstroke or a downstroke, and delaying the different strings so you could hear each string hit.
Coming from like a general album mixing or like song mixing perspective, you have one guitar, it's playing at one velocity, you have one bass, you have one drum kit, maybe you have a keyboard, but they're not moving targets, they're not going anywhere. So you can confidently say, yeah, I'm gonna filter this thing here and here, give some room to the bass here. You can sculpt this thing and it's not getting away from you. It's like a painting. Session mode,
It's a painting
it's
while
like
you're on acid. Mixing session mode was the coolest mixing project I've ever done in my life. Okay, all of a sudden we have all these instruments that need to work sonically with one another because you can pick any combination. It needs to match what you're doing. And as you get more intense, the volumes need to come up. And that was just quite a beast of a task, but like I said, was just so much fun.
There's a lot of people who know a lot of different things about a lot of different areas of music, and there's also a shared common vocabulary about music so that we can all talk and understand and know what we're saying and communicate that to the players so that they understand how musicians talk to each other.
What is this?
Mine is not Scotch.
I hope you enjoyed that little time capsule back. Holy cow. I sound like I'm on 8 or 9 mics right now. I'm not sure what's going on. But in any case, hi, and welcome back to the Rocksmith stream. We're very much live here from San Francisco, as you can tell. My name is Dan Emmerich. I'm the community developer on behalf of Rocksmith. And congratulations to our winners. You just missed our second giveaway. I see that UB Vertigo has picked the winners for this week's Interpol Song DLC. So 5 people just got this week's pack on Steam for free. If that was one of you, congratulations. If it's not one of you, don't worry. We still have another giveaway later in the show, and we're going to keep on playing the music of Interpol so you can figure out if it's something that you want to buy. Because now you know, like, oh, it's safe to buy. I didn't win it, you know. Next up is Obstacle 1 with Anthony Martinez in the center, and over on the right, it's Rai Kin. Hi, Rai. And Anthony, you are both note trackers, but Anthony, I think you did this track.
I sure did.
That's why I forced you to play lead guitar.
I was happy to do it.
Is this also indicative? You're very mellow today. Is this also indicative of the other songs that we've seen? Similar techniques, similar sort of structures and stuff.
On bass,
yeah.
What I noticed, it just dawned on me. This guy loves the A string, like and the last song too. Like he's always sliding around on this string, which is good effect.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
It's a creative bass player.
Sure.
Yeah.
As far as note choices and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. But to answer your question, Dan.
No, that also answers my question. God damn, that was cold.
No,
That's the thing that strings it together is the A string. Come on.
No, it's totally true. So there's a lot of interplay between the two guitar arrangements for sure. Similar to the other guitar arrangements and the other songs. But I'm glad that Rai is playing bass because the intro is really cool, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a fun song to play. A lot of interesting fingerings and voicings that are used to play some of the chordal riffs. And I really dig the single note melodies too, which happen between two guitars towards the end of the song. It's sort of like this drawn out like outro bridge section. Which is a lot of fun. There's like an A minor arpeggio section that's in the lead arrangement. And then the rhythm arrangement, which I'm playing, it features a single note melody just on the G string. So again, like touching on Rai's point about sticking to just one string and sliding up. And yeah, it's a really cool effect. You can hear the guitarist just change positions. Yeah.
All right. Want to play it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. After this, we'll do some Q&A, and I see there's some questions already in our queue. So you've been bringing stuff up in the chat, and Doug has been dutifully copying them over to a document that I can see. So after Obstacle 1, Q&A. Oh, yeah. See, that makes it.
Nice.
It's great. It's insistent. You know, like it's just one of those songs that drives,
Oh,
and, and
totally.
it just keeps driving the whole time.
Yeah, great bass work there, Rye.
Yes.
I love. Oh, what were you
Amazing
gonna say?
performance.
Amazing performance.
Amazing
Not
performance.
quite masterful though.
Masterful performance.
Yeah, I love how the bass just sort of chimes in
Yeah,
sporadically
that
during the
syncopated
verses.
part where the guitar is doing the single note and then the bass is like in the holes. That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I forget. Did you transcribe this one?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
believe
good.
so. But then I was watching the previous video and I was like, no, that's the one I transcribed. I'm getting mixed
yeah.
up.
They all mash together after a while, especially when you're like, okay, I'm done. Time to start again. Here we go. I actually have some questions from the community about
absolutely.
note tracking, actually, today. Sandic1 asks, how easy or hard is it to figure out some of those complicated chords that you hear in the mix? They're noticing that there's a lot of bar chords in here. Specifically, they brought that up during PDA, but I think it applies. Is this just something that you get used to? Is it just the skill that comes with being a transcriptionist?
Absolutely.
Picking out specific chords and knowing when you've gotten them right.
Yeah. I would think a lot of that has to do with just like chordal or just musical vocab. You know, like all the chord voicings and fingerings that you have under your belt. Or, if you're dealing with chord shapes and fingerings that might be unconventional, just using your ears and maybe thinking ergonomically about how you might be able to finger certain chords and like what makes the most sense. You kind of consider shapes that arrive before and after the chords in question, just to see what makes the most sense, just in terms of transitioning from one shape to the next. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I sit there a lot of times with the space bar and just hit it, like so. And then I try to identify individual pitches within the chord. So process of elimination. Holy.
Oh, we're doing this now. Guess whose birthday it is? It's Anthony's birthday,
guys,
everybody.
You guys are
Day
awesome.
to you. Everybody in your own key. Happy birthday, dear Anthony.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you guys so much.
There you go. That's a cross between the Great American Music and the Great American House Cat, basically. That was very nice. Sam got you a cake, and look at that.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that.
And we're going to send 5 pieces of the cake out to the next. No.
Oh, man.
Happy birthday, Anthony.
Thank you.
So I hope
so
that
much.
answered your question. Anthony is a year older. I actually have more questions, and I'm not sure whether you guys can answer all these.
so
Some of
nice.
these, I think I'm better off answering. What's this month's encore? Good question. We're actually skipping encore. I haven't gotten. We're not quite there yet. But it just so happens that the last Monday of the month, which is always when we do Rocksmith Encore, is a national holiday here in America, and so yeah, we're actually going to take that off. We'll come back in June with another encore. Is there a current list of most requested artists? Asks Garrett with 3 T's. Yes, and you'd be surprised. It's kind of the same list over and over again. The most recent update of that list was put out last spring when we hit 1,000 songs. So there's an infographic, which I believe is, honestly, I think it's bit.ly/rs1000 songs, all lowercase. Than the number 1,000. I'm sure the chat will catch up with this, but that's the most recent version of the list. The original version of the list appeared at our process document, which is bit.ly/rsprocess, all lowercase, and you can compare and see that there's an awful lot of the same artists there because of the same people. There's a handful of bands that inspired a whole lot of people. So, yes, that's those are the most requested artists. We've been talking a little bit in the chat while you guys were playing about what kind of information we reveal and can reveal. Like, what's your biggest selling song? Well, we're not going to reveal that. That's just like considered, private information. But we will say what's the song that most people have played, because that doesn't necessarily that could be something on disc or whatever,
Right.
So if you want to lead your, come to your own conclusions from that, you can. But it is fair to go like, I wonder how many other people are playing. What songs turn out to be most popular? Are people playing songs that happen to match my taste, or is there something out there that's really popular that I don't know why it's popular? Maybe I should check it out. So I'm actually putting together some data for a new infographic that should come out later this year. Don't have an ETA because I just finished putting together the data. I do more than just talking on the streams, and we'll see what happens there. Question, says Frank G14, and this may be one for the pody behind the cabinet there. Why are some songs louder than others in Rocksmith? It appears that they are recorded at different volume levels. You may be able to address some of this too, because Anthony handles some of our. You work with the licensing team, and you actually take delivery of the assets. So we get the official album cover from the artist as part of our licensing deal, and we get the stereo master track. Do you guys ever have to do any leveling or compression on that to even them out, or do you just take them as they're given to you, and you're not allowed to mess with it?
No, we definitely try to equalize the audio in a way that makes it so that it's not so jarring when you scroll from song to song. We try to keep everything balanced. But yeah, I mean, some tracks just were pushed at different levels.
And Pody has, and I was going to say, like, some of them just have different natural dynamics too.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a microphone anymore? I don't have a microphone. Oh, well, why don't you come on over,
come
ladies
on.
and gentlemen? Brian
Come on, Pody.
Pody. Here, you can take
Here.
mine.
No.
Hey, you're the birthday boy. You keep your headset.
I've been waiting for this day when I
Yes.
stand here. Hello, Rocksmith community. Let me tell you everything Dan's been doing wrong. Somebody would have to change the camera. So we actually now integrate all songs to the same like integrated loudness, LUFS, which is kind of the standard that's used in the industry. Now that camera is just in the middle of the shot blocking ride.
Press the button that says.
This process is definitely newer within the last couple of years. It's still not live, Dan. It's still not live.
Because I'm doing this really flattering close-up.
I'm sure it's great. And I've made the system impossible for anyone else to use, thus securing my job.
Nice.
But yeah, in the past we did it in a different way that was left a little more to interpretation. So there definitely is music in the library that varies in loudness from song to song. I happened to click on a song today and I was like, oh, that's like 2 dB louder than anything we do now is. So you will notice that variance, particularly in older DLC. The on-disc stuff should all be pretty close, and all the newer DLC within the last year or two is all integrated to the same volume.
All right. Thank you. Did you enjoy my ear sweat? It was lovely. Yeah, I kept these cans warm for you. And I know we had. And one last question, just because I think that we don't have a lot of time left. Which is, where the hell is it? Oh, can you add pitch shift through a patch, says M1 Astro. This is a fairly common question, but let me explain why we don't. Like, say a song is in E standard, and if it's in, like, your guitar is generally tuned to E standard, and if a song is in D standard, like Motley Crue, for instance, I know is something that's all in D standard. People don't like tuning down all 6 strings. It's kind of a drag. Or if you have a floating trem, a lot of times it's difficult to do that and make the guitar play well. So why don't you just do it digitally? Well, there's 2 reasons. One, learning to retune your guitar is actually a skill that is worth learning, and so we do want to support you really knowing how to do things without shortcuts. So that's part of it. But furthermore, we have actually tried it, and the problem is you strum one sound and you hear something different coming out of your speakers than coming out of the guitar that you're holding. And when you're learning to play guitar, that is death. Like, it's so difficult and it's so confusing. And we've had people try it, and it's super tricky, and it's not a good learning experience. And that is our goal, is to give you a good learning experience. So while we know that people, find they do it digitally themselves, there are pedals out there that will drop you down as whatever increment you want, really. We don't recommend that because the software is looking for a clean tone at E standard, or whatever the default tuning is. You can get around it. People have said that, hey, it works great for me, but we don't recommend doing that. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, even people here have tried it, and it works, but it's not something that we recommend because you shouldn't be putting any effects between your guitar and your USB Is that? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, they can go if you want to go. That's cool. Thank you for the Q&A.
I actually wanted to add to this.
Oh,
too.
you wanted to add? Okay, so there you go. That's why we don't do it. But Anthony has no. So you can't get out yet, Rye. Sorry. Sit down. Sit down or run that camera. One of the two.
let's get the awesome new camera working. No, but I just wanted to touch on your point regarding like ear training. You know, it's important to have make a connection between the sounds that you are producing from your instrument or with your instrument with the sounds that are coming through the game. You know, they should be connected. In other words, it does sound jarring if you're playing an E major chord when it should be an open D major chord.
Yeah.
In that case, and also obviously depending on the string gauge and the type of guitar you're using, it could feel different to play in D standard.
Very.
And it's important to get that under your fingers too, and understand what that what it feels like to play those songs in certain tunings.
Yeah.
So.
There are technological ways around. I'm not saying we'd never do it. We've talked about it, we've considered its feasibility, and of course, as we get more and more advanced players who are like, I can deal with that dissonance between what I'm hearing and what I'm playing. It doesn't bother them as much. We really did do it as a design decision from the beginning because we figured the person that's playing Rocksmith has never picked up a guitar before. How can we make that as comfortable as humanly possible?
Absolutely.
So now you're free to go. Thank you very much for all the Q&A, and happy birthday, Anthony.
Thank you so much,
you're
Dan.
19 this year, right?
Appreciate it.
And your tennis career is taken off under your pseudonym Pete Sampras. That's great.
Yeah. I'm
really happy to
making a comeback.
Yeah, good
Watch
for you.
out, watch out.
Take care of those knees.
Yeah. Oh man, I did injure my leg the other
Oh,
day. Yeah.
see, you're getting old.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we have another song to play, but before we do that, we have mentioned from time to time that we have more than 1,200 songs in our library now. And in case you missed it, we have a whole bunch of other songs that you can play. Now, obviously, we mentioned before that Interpol, we have a 5th Interpol song, Slow Hands, on the Rocksmith 1 disc, the original thing. And you can import Rocksmith 1 DLC and the Rocksmith 1 on-disc songs directly into your current library for Rocksmith 2014, if you would like. That's a whole different thing that I'm sure folks in the chat room can point you to the FAQ that'll walk you through that. But when I was thinking about like what kind of stuff might be similar in tone or vibe to Interpol, not necessarily from the same area of the world, but I did realize the Killers and the Strokes, which are two bands that I always got confused myself. We have 2 packs by the Strokes, and that's all of those songs are represented there in those 2 packs. And of course the Killers. So if this is if you're enjoying this kind of music and you're looking for some additional songs that you could also play, these might fit the bill. Check out our trailers. You can go to youtube.com/rocksmithgame, and you can find all of the trailers for all of our DLC ever. We've got all of the stuff up there so that you can get just a little sample. Of course, you can go to the artists' own YouTube channels or their websites and get some snippets as well. But if you're looking for more stuff, there's always more stuff in our library that might be what you're looking for, and that you can extend the kind of vibes and the feelings that you're having from this music. If you dig this, you might dig the Killers and you might dig the Strokes as well. And if not, who knows what else you will find in the library. This very loose show has been brought to you by Ubisoft San Francisco. My name is Dan Amrick. I'm the community developer on behalf of Rocksmith, and what we're doing is wrapping up. We've got one more show, one more song, and one more giveaway to do, and then we're out of here for the day. As we go through the songs of Interpol this week, we have DLC from Interpol. And all 4 songs have been played, or are going to be played on this week's show. We'll end with a trailer, so if you missed some of this and you don't want to go back to the whole rigmarole of watching the whole show again, that's fine. We'll give you a little snippet. You can say, I remember that, I don't remember that. But to do the final song, which is All the Rage Back Home, I'm going to welcome on 2 guys with S that starts their name, Super Sam Schwartz.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, and Shenanigans himself, Shane Gann, because you can't spell Shenanigans without Shane Gann. It's one of my favorite jokes about your name. I love it.
Thank you.
Hi, and welcome back. Shane's been on tour, so he's back in the office for a few more weeks anyway, a month and a half, something like that. Do we have you for that long?
About a month.
About a month. All right.
Warped Tour.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
He'll be out with Hail the Sun, so if you're familiar with the band Hail the Sun.
Hail the Sun.
Yeah, there you go.
Hail the Sun. Oh, he's wearing our shirt.
Oh, you are wearing the shirt. Oh, that's a nice friend.
Sam's a good friend.
Yeah. Sam also is the note tracker on All the Rage Back Home. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Excellent.
I note tracked this one.
And more of the same? Is this kind of in line with the other stuff? Is this typical or
It's an
atypical?
Interpol song.
Yeah,
it's an Interpol song.
Yeah,
they do have a style.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. It's they do these really cool, like the lead line is really fun. It slides around a lot. I don't know if he plays anything but the top 2 strings in the lead part. I think it's all the top 2 strings. If I'm
Are you doing lead or are you doing?
I'm
rhythm?
doing lead.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna find out.
He's not sure.
Yeah, I just played it and I'm like, did it have this? I can't remember. So we'll find out.
All right.
Yeah.
So that means I use more strings than you.
That's probably true.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Almost certainly. Yeah. It is.
This was the song that I was going to play on bass, and then I realized like this is one too many things for me to do this week. No, it's a very active bass line. I really enjoyed playing it, but yeah, I also found myself glued like this. Like I got to be ready for these changes, and some of the syncopations are a little bit off for what I was expecting, not necessarily what the song calls for. So look for a very interesting bass part, and look for possibly only 2 guitar strings on All the Rage Back Home by Interpol.
Possibly.
When you break all the other ones.
Yeah, if you're low on strings and you can only get 2, maybe this is the song for you. After this, we'll give away some strings.
It's deceptive. You think it's going to be such a calm, slow song.
I just had the other tempo stuck in my head. So with the string of my head. For guitar, I'd be like, okay, now Dragon Force it. Okay, then back to go. And Dragon Force. And back to go.
I'm really glad you picked that up because you did that bass line
killed
justice.
that bass
Whereas I was just like, every time it went up like to the fifth or to the octave, I was struggling, and I was just like, oh, it sounds so good if I could only execute. So thank you for actually taking that one off of my plate.
Nicely
and yes, look at that, very well done.
Nice,
Both of us.
masterful.
A's.
Yeah,
A's.
masterful
I
performance.
like it. I like
Wow.
That's good.
I'm joining the band actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interpol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Do they know that?
No.
Okay.
My
How are you
hand
going to tell them?
I
Is
don't
this
know.
how you're telling them?
I told him.
You'll be like, I'm all the rage back home, man.
Yeah, man.
Somewhere. I might. Yeah, my mom thinks I'm pretty good.
No, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, there's too many.
There's too many options to
don't,
go.
Don't.
I opened the door.
No, no.
guys.
I'm a gentleman, and I'm going to stay a gentleman.
Close it.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you both. Much appreciated. Hey, giveaway, free things for you, and only one of you, really, because this is the last prize pack we have to give away today. And somebody, well, maybe you, but maybe not you, maybe the person that's next to you in the chat room, because I think of you as a physical theater, where you guys are, sort of like, get off of my armrest, But somebody's going to win everything you see here. Brand new strings for your guitar and your bass, a peg winder, which makes changing your strings a heck of a lot easier, the Wonder Wipe system, which is a great cleaning and maintenance system for your guitar or your bass, and I do recommend that you clean your guitar or your bass. Also, a brand new strap. They are green at the moment, a lovely dark forest green. And a dozen picks from Ernie Ball, and 3 of the special Rocksmith picks you can only get here, the pink Rocksmith Skullboy picks. So if you would like to win everything that you see here, just pay attention to what UB Vertigo, Doug, our community manager, is trying to tell you right now in the chat room. He's giving you instructions on how to enter, and it's pretty easy. But what happens is he will then whisper you, if you are the winner, he will whisper to you, and then you give him your shipping information. We're going to need your name, your address, and your phone number. If you live outside of the United States, formatting your address helps a lot, because I don't always know like the difference between your province or your city or your state, and like there's a whole bunch of different ways to put stuff on an envelope, and I inevitably don't want to get it wrong. So if you can give us any suggestions, like with slashes maybe in between the things where there should be like a carriage return and we put it on a different line on the shipping form, that would help. But he will then send me the information that he collects from you, and I will put together a box with all of the stuff in it and a couple of surprises that we don't normally talk about. I guess they're not surprises if I show you that we have some Rocksmith stickers to give away too. And while supplies last, we still have some of these Rocksmith keychains, which are pretty nifty. So I'll throw some of those in there as well, and some stickers from Ernie Ball. So you're going to get a little bit more than what we just showed on the screen. So I wish you good luck. And of course, if you don't win this week, come back next week. We'll be doing this again next week. We actually will be pre-recording next week's stream because, as I mentioned last week, I thought that there was something coming up on a Thursday afternoon that we as a staff couldn't miss. We're having a local event, and Rocksmith is an important part of that event. So they're like, hey, guys, come on over and do this. It's in the middle of our never mind. So we will be here, and we will do the live giveaways and all the stuff that we would normally do live, except that the whole show will be pre-recorded. It's the nature of the beast. And what that show is will be revealed tomorrow in our forums. If you go to rocksmith.com and click on the chat bubble at the top, that will take you straight to our forums, and our friend UB Vertigo will post a clue as created by Rolling Stone 222 that you will want to solve with your fellow folks to figure out what next week's DLC is. I will tell you that I've seen the puzzle and it made me smile. That's all I'm going to say. I enjoyed his method, and hopefully you will enjoy solving it too. So if you want the very first hint at what's going on for next week's DLC, stop by our forums at rocksmith.com tomorrow and look in the DLC area. In the meantime, have yourself a lovely weekend. Thanks for coming to our show. It's always nice to see so many people show up. I like answering your questions live whenever we can. I love seeing people talking to each other politely in the chat. Some people are afraid to come into internet chat rooms because they're like, oh, everybody's going to make fun of me and rawr, Twitch. And, I'm really happy that we have such a positive community here around Rocksmith, and that it's reflected in our chat room. So if you have a question about Rocksmith and you feel like you're a little shy, don't be shy. Ask politely, and somebody will probably give you a polite answer. A few of them are smart asses, but they've got a a heart of gold. And if you want to know something about Rocksmith, you can get the answer from the fine folks in our community. So thank you for being a decent community, and thank you for watching the show. I'm Dan Amrich. I'm the community developer. I'm out of here. I'll see you next week live on tape. And here's another look at the 4 Interpol songs that are available right now for Rocksmith 2014 Remastered. Check them out if they're for you. Hey, maybe treat yourself and buy them this weekend and learn how to expand your guitar and bass repertoire. See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Shards under the